Hi, this is Jeff Keamy, and today we're going to discuss calling the internet service provider that's going to provide the bandwidth for your project. Now, the first thing that I've done in Tucson is I've made relationships with each and every internet service provider here as best as I can. And in my scenario, there was one internet service provider that really stood out as the one that I would partner with almost exclusively. Now, and that particular provider was Cox Communications, and they are a local provider here in Tucson, and they are also a national provider, so it may be in your town, it may not. But look for a provider that will work with you in setting up these services. Specifically, I was able to have an individual salesperson that I contact anytime I need new services. I simply send that person an email, give them a phone call. I can even send them a text. Say, hey, I need a new circuit set up at a particular property. Here's the address. Within about 15 to 20 minutes, I'll have the agreement ready to go, and services are on their way to being installed. Now, you'll find also, and this is one of the more frustrating parts, is that there's some service providers that are substandard, and you'll probably know your area pretty well on what internet service providers provide better service than others. I'm not going to name any names here, but we do have certain providers that we try to stay away from. But we don't always have that option. If we have the ability to set up a service in a particular area and our preferred bandwidth provider is not available, we'll have to look at those second and third options for providing bandwidth in that area. Once I'm ready to order internet services, I'll use my bandwidth calculator to estimate the amount of bandwidth that I'm going to need at a particular site, and I'll order a circuit that is around that amount. And I'll adjust the contracts to kind of fit the bill. We don't want to overpromise. We'd rather underpromise and overdeliver. So when you're setting up the bandwidth, this is something that you usually want to set up on behalf of the property. It's a bill that the property will receive. If you find that it works in your business plan to absorb the cost of the bandwidth and, in essence, tack that on to your monthly fee, so you'll have your monthly fee, let's just say it's $300 per month, and you have a bandwidth line that costs $200 per month. You may decide to charge the $500 per month for bandwidth, and you only really want to do that if there's a benefit from the financial point of view. For instance, you pay $175 for some bandwidth, and if the customer were to purchase it, maybe it was a little bit more because since maybe you got the better deal since you're doing a lot more business with a particular provider. But our recommendation is to allow the community to pay for bandwidth costs, and that bandwidth cost will be separate from the Wi-Fi monthly recurring cost for managing and maintaining their network. So this is Jeff Keamy teaching you how to order bandwidth and make sure you find the right provider in your area.